The premiere episode of She-Hulk has released and people are very torn on it so far. Some people have loved it. They think the front and center feminist narrative is amazing, and others think the show is already a giant disaster, and on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, there's a bit of a war going on between everyone, so I wanted to cover a lot of the social media backlash that's going on, and mainstream media outlets claiming She-Hulk was review bombed by angry male fans despite the series having more false positive reviews than negative ones. I have a few things to show off, but before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month, or support the channel via YouTube memberships. All of the links are in the description, and of course, I do really appreciate all of the support. So this article says, in the latest attempt by legacy media to cape unquestionably for Disney's next product, numerous outlets are attempting to claim that She-Hulk attorney at law has been the victim of a review bombing campaign, despite the fact that the series actually holds more false positive ratings than negative ones. Now, this article was posted right before the premiere of this episode, and it doesn't talk about the episode in the article, just the backlash that's going on social media and things like Rotten Tomatoes or IMDb, and I am going to talk about those things, but I did watch this premiere episode, and it is just not good. Spoiler alert, I did want to give you some of my thoughts on it in a minute. But it says, an unsurprisingly desperate move from the House of Mouse in light of the upcoming series' widely panned and cringe-inducing marketing campaign, which came replete with a title card declaring it as a must-see series. August 17th saw various outlets, including comicbook.com, Inside the Magic, The Direct, and Screen Rant, all running headlines sensationally warning that She-Hulk has been targeted for review bombing on IMDb. This did show that it was sitting at a 4.9 before it released, but as you can see, while there were 981 stars, there were over 1,010 stars, meaning that while yes, there were people negatively review bombing it, there were also people trying to reverse review bomb it and say, I'm gonna one-up you, and I think that this show is going to be great, and I don't want all of these negatives to bring down the score. Now, it has changed since, but not very much. The same situation is still happening, though. There's almost 20,000 reviews here. It is sitting at a 5.9, though, with 6,523 10 stars, quite a few 9, 8, 7 stars, and then you go down to the ones, which is 28.6% of the ratings at 5,598 votes. Now, clearly, there's a bit of a war going on between users right now. Some people are saying it's amazing, you're not giving it a chance, and others are saying it's awful. You clearly haven't seen the same content as I have, and I have to agree with the 1 stars. It is just not good. Now, 10 minutes into this show, you can tell it's supposed to be a women are better than men and deserve more praise story, which 1 or 2 comments in a season wouldn't be too bad, since most of these writers do it at one point or another, but it is constant, and we're only 1 episode into this series. She's joking about how she's a better version of Bruce's Hulk, and he's got to defend himself, saying, you're not better, just a little bit different, and he's jealous of her because there's not an alter ego in her. Then she's got to talk about her struggles and how every day she has to restrain herself way more than he does because she's a woman and life is hard. Clearly, the narrative here came before the storytelling, and I did want to show just a few clips. Hopefully, this video will be okay. Hopefully, it will not be struck down or claimed, but I am just going to show a couple of seconds from the series, just so you guys can see the content that was in this. That is just awful. It's being shared on social media, IMDb, say it louder for the people in the back. Lots of people in these media outlets trying to defend the series.
When I'm catcalled in the street. When
Here we
incompetent men
go.
explain my own area of expertise to me, I do it pretty much every day, because if I don't, I will get called
This is why
emotional or difficult, or
nobody
I
likes
might
these
just
shows.
literally get murdered. So
Because she's going, poor me. I have to restrain myself every single day. Why would I want to watch a show where this is the focus of the content that you're getting? And then here's another clip that is blown up on social media. That is just so bad. We know that this show must have had a pretty decent budget. You're not telling me that this had awful funds put behind it. I mean, it's just yet another MCU show. That is terrible. That is absolutely cringeworthy, and I hate using that word. But when I see this, I can't help but go, oh no. This is the best they could come up with, and apparently it was. Now, as you saw, she's going on about how her life is hard because she's a female. This show is filled with feminist propaganda, and it's why content like this is failing. You don't get arcs where female characters have to train to get better anymore. They suddenly just are better than their male counterparts. It would have been so amazing to see Bruce actually teach her the ways of the Hulk, in a sense, where you've got her being defeated, then him picking her back up again. So they were this amazing duo, and hey, maybe he could learn a thing or two as well through their journey together. But in this first freaking episode, she is better than him at everything she does. Yes, she would instantly be strong, and she's a smart woman without hulking out, but you'd think she'd have some kind of trouble, balancing with the new weight and body proportions, especially because she's not, some professional bodybuilder. And yeah, she's a smart woman again, but maybe she wouldn't be able to control her anger yet. But of course, because she's a woman, she can instantly do all of that. And I'll be honest, I see potential here. Clearly, Mark and Tatiana have great chemistry, but the writing is just so mediocre. Maybe the show will get better after the first episode, but unfortunately it was stuffed with narratives and propaganda, and I'm not holding my breath for it to get better. But going on over to Rotten Tomatoes, let's take a look. The critic score is sitting at an 86%, and it was all the way up at a 95% when the show launched, so a few more critics have reviewed it and didn't like it, but the average audience score is not looking good. It is sitting at a 66%. Of course, there are either 1 stars or 5 stars here. There's not really an in-between. Somebody gave it a 5-star. Loved the show. It balances the comedy very well so far. One of the best first episodes. In what? TV history? MCU history? They don't really specify, but okay. 1/2 star out of 5. More poorly written drivel from Marvel. CGI looks awful. Music is bad. Cringe sitcom format doesn't help. I remember a few weeks ago when they were going on about how they fixed the CGI and they're listening to fan feedback and it looks so much better. If you told me that they didn't change the CGI, I would believe you. I cannot tell a difference here. The CGI looks just as bad as it did in the trailers we saw. I wanted to like this. The unrealistic and unnatural dialogue combined with horrible storytelling was too much for me. I'm guessing this will score better with critics who don't want to rate it low because that could be misinterpreted as disagreeing with the message, which is very true. It's why I do not really trust reviewers anymore, because they are too focused on pleasing companies and making sure they continue to get inside scoops, and they don't want to disagree with the message. Of course, she is better at everything. Why is she better? Who is running Marvel these days? Yeah, we get it. I mean, a lot of these reviews are talking about the same things. Obviously, we only have 1 episode to review right now. We only have 1 episode to go off of, but clearly the message is front and center in this single episode. It's a shame we can't get good content anymore. I have no hope that She-Hulk will get better as the episodes continue. I will try to keep up with it just so that I can talk about it and review it for you guys. But It doesn't seem like a lot of people like it, and these 10-star reviewers who are claiming that they absolutely adore it and that it's an amazing show clearly just want to support the message it is pushing. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.